What if I told you that the reason you're watching this video right now, the Wi-Fi connection, the Bluetooth in your earbuds, even your GPS navigation, all of that can be traced back to a glamorous Hollywood actress from the 1940s. Sounds unbelievable, right? Meet Hedy Lamarr, the woman who lit up the silver screen by day and by night was secretly working on technology that would one day shape the modern world. But here's the twist. She never got the credit she truly deserved. Hedy Lamarr was born Hedwig Eva Maria Kiesler in Vienna, Austria in 1914. She was a curious, brilliant child who loved machines more than dolls. Her father, a banker, often explained how things worked, from music boxes to streetcars, and this lit a spark in young Hedy's mind. Fact: by the time she was 5 years old, she could take apart and reassemble a music box on her own. But life would take her on a very different path first, into the world of acting. In the 1930s, Hedy became a movie star in Europe. Her beauty was legendary. She quickly became known as the most beautiful woman in the world. Hollywood soon came calling, and in 1938, she signed with MGM and moved to America. She starred alongside actors like Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy. Millions knew her face, but no one knew her mind. Fact: in her spare time on set, Hedy kept an invention kit in her trailer and would tinker with ideas between takes. She wasn't just a pretty face, she was an inventor with a powerful brain. When World War II broke out, Hedy wanted to help the Allied forces, but Hollywood wouldn't let her join the military. Instead, she used her intellect. Hedy teamed up with George Antheil, a composer and pianist. The two of them, an actress and a musician, seemed like an odd pair, but what they created was revolutionary. Fact: in 1941, Hedy and George filed a patent for a technology called frequency hopping, a way to send signals that couldn't be jammed or intercepted. This was the early blueprint for modern-day wireless communication. Imagine trying to send a message during war, but the enemy keeps jamming your radio signals. Hedy's idea was simple. What if the signal could hop between different frequencies, making it almost impossible to track or jam? She and Antheil used piano rolls, the kind used in player pianos, to model how the signal would jump. It was brilliant and ahead of its time. Fact: their patent was granted in 1942, but the US Navy ignored it. They thought it was too complex, and honestly, they didn't believe an actress could invent something useful for war. For decades, Hedy's invention sat unused. It gathered dust, completely forgotten by the military and the world. Meanwhile, Hedy kept acting, never speaking much about her invention, but time would prove her right. Fact: in the 1960s, the US military finally used frequency hopping in secure communication systems, especially in torpedoes during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Still, Hedy's name wasn't mentioned. She had no idea her idea was even being used. Fast forward to the 1980s and 90s. Engineers began developing technologies like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and GPS. Guess what these systems rely on? Yup, frequency hopping spread spectrum. The very thing Hedy Lamarr and George Antheil had patented back in 1942. Fact: her patent expired in the 1950s, which meant companies could use the tech without paying her a cent. She never made a dime from her invention. It wasn't until the 1990s, nearly 50 years later, that people finally began to connect the dots. In 1997, Hedy Lamarr received the Pioneer Award from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. It was one of the first real recognitions of her work in technology. Fact: that same year, she famously said, "It's about time." She died in 2000, but her legacy lives on, not in film, but in every phone call, every YouTube video, every GPS route we take. Today, Hedy Lamarr is remembered as both a Hollywood legend and a tech pioneer, a woman who broke stereotypes, who proved that beauty and brains can and do exist in the same person. Fact: in 2014, 100 years after her birth, she was posthumously inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Even though Hedy Lamarr never received the financial rewards or recognition during her lifetime, her story stands as a powerful reminder that brilliance can come from the most unexpected places. She defied every stereotype thrown her way, not just by excelling in two wildly different worlds, but by doing it in a time when women, especially in Hollywood, were rarely taken seriously beyond their looks. Her mind operated decades ahead of her time, yet society chose to focus on her face instead of her ideas. It wasn't just unfair, it was a lost opportunity for the world to celebrate a true innovator when she was still alive. But history, as it often does, found a way to catch up. Today, as we tap on our smartphones, track our rides, or connect to Wi-Fi in a cafe, we're unknowingly walking through the echoes of Hedy Lamarr's vision. Her life is more than a story. It's a symbol of hidden genius, of resilience, of how many great ideas are left unheard simply because of who they come from. And maybe that's the bigger lesson here. Genius doesn't always wear a lab coat. Sometimes it wears red lipstick and walks a red carpet, and still changes the world in silence. For most of her life, Hedy Lamarr lived in the shadow of her own invention, a silent contributor to a world that never stopped to ask who made it possible. Imagine creating something that changed the course of communication, only to watch the credit go elsewhere while your own name fades behind old movie posters. That was Hedy's reality, and yet, she never let bitterness define her. She kept inventing, kept thinking, kept dreaming. Not for fame, but because it was who she was at her core. A creator, a problem solver, a visionary in a time that didn't know what to do with women like her. Her story forces us to look closer, at the people we overlook, the minds we underestimate, and the biases we still carry. How many Hedy Lamarrs are out there today, waiting to be heard, waiting for someone to believe in their ideas? Her legacy isn't just about wireless technology. It's about challenging the limits placed on us by society and pushing forward anyway. Because the greatest contributions often come from those who refuse to be boxed in. Hedy's life may have been a quiet revolution, but its impact roars through every signal we send today. So the next time you're scrolling through Instagram or watching a video online, take a moment to thank Hedy Lamarr, the hidden genius behind your wireless world. And if you liked this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories like this one. We bring you the untold truths, the forgotten heroes, and the inventions that changed the world. Let's keep their legacy alive, one story at a time.